This is a processor that you are going to put into headsets, mixed reality headsets that will take on the Apple Vision Pro. And I just want you to talk about how confident you are that you will take on the Apple Vision Pro and at what end of the market you're going to help support.
Look, we have been a big believer in spatial computing, and I think the XR Gen 2, it's another instance of what we have been doing generation after generation to get 4K spatial compute on each eye, but most important is we've been driving how to bring scale. You see some of the partnerships we have with Meta, what they've been doing with the Quest series. We're working and announced, I think a while ago, that we're working with Samsung and Google. You saw some devices being announced from Sony. I think that's a great opportunity, and the key thing is, can you get that to a scale with the performance and the price point that we excite developers? I think it's a great opportunity.
On the scale point, there is a feeling that Apple will come in with the Vision Pro or a next generation at a lower price point and just take the market. Based on the demand you've had for XR2 Plus, is that going to be the case or not?
I think you have to look at this in a different way. I think Apple is doing a great job. I think what they've done with the Vision Pro, it's great if you look at the device, and to bring it to scale, all that this is going to do is to ignite the developer ecosystem. At the end of the day, those computing platforms and developers creating content, the more that you have, more content, and that content that they're going to help create is going to be available on other platforms as well, and vice versa. It's about creating the next spatial computing platform. It's a great opportunity. We're still in the early growth stage of this market.
You have been to many CESs. I have been to a few. It's always hard to find a common theme, but this year there is clearly a common theme, which is AI. And you and I have talked in the past about on-device AI use, particularly in the cell phone or smartphone context. This year, the PC seems to be the battleground. What is Qualcomm doing AI on PC?
Look, we're incredibly excited, and we feel kind of what we have been saying is validated. If we look at all of the other companies all announcing on-device AI, something we've been talking for more than a year. If you look what we did at Snapdragon Summit, we announced X Elite, which right now is the king of all device AI computing platforms for the PC, has an integrated total 75 TOPS tera operations per second. And we started to see what Microsoft is doing, other companies doing. This is exciting. Just to put in perspective, we have over 30 different AI models being ported to the Snapdragon platform, preparing for this on-device AI PC. And it's going to change user experience, it's going to change productivity. You look at the number of CEOs talking about how they're investing in this, and when you run on a device, it's more secure, and you have context, and you have privacy.
So ARM, as an example, has been talking about the promise of chips that power AI on PC for quite a long time, and it kind of hasn't materialized until now. When I posted on X and asked our audience, what are you most excited about from a technology or gadget perspective 2024? To be fair, many people replied and said Snapdragon Elite. So what does Snapdragon Elite look like in the real world this year, 2024? How many consumers can actually sit at their laptop or PC and do something of interest?
Oh, you're going to be able to do a lot. So maybe just to put a perspective on X Elite, because there's a lot of excitement. We're very happy with the number of designs. It's going to launch together with the new version of Windows. It's going to have on-device Copilot, and there's so many things you'll be able to do. From be able to have a computer now that's going to predict your every moment. You're going to have Copilot when you talk about the Windows ecosystem across all the different applications. And there's a number of other use cases when you think about visual models, language models, they're being developed, they're very exciting. And I think that that's happening on PC, that's happening on phones, that's going to happen on cars as well.
To our Bloomberg television and radio audience worldwide, we're live in Las Vegas at CES, and we're speaking to Cristiano Amon, CEO of Qualcomm. Let's set a baseline and say there is still some weakness in the global smartphone market, right? What functionality in this AI era is going to bring the consumer back to start the upgrade cycle, to get smartphone growth like we've seen in prior cycles?
Well, it's a great question. As far as the weakness, I think we did say in the last earnings call that the correction and the inventory correction is behind us right now. So we're excited about the market being stable. And then it leads to exactly this point that you bring up. what is going to create a new upgrade cycle that people want to buy a new phone. And we're 100% convinced is what's happening right now with Gen AI on the phone. The way you need to think about it, we have been accustomed to the experience that you have a platform, or the OS platform, on top of the computer, you have the apps, and you go in and you touch it. But now, on top of the OS, you're going to have those models that try to predict your every move. And it's going to bring not only efficiency, but new use cases. And we've seen that. We've seen that with automatic translation. We've seen that with web summarization. We've seen that with ability to create content, and they did content in real time, content that didn't exist before, using visualization models, and many more. And something as simple as texting is going to have context that will allow the AI to bring information that you may want to share, or you may want to schedule, all part of the experience. I'm believing the next user experience is going to be based on Gen AI on the phones, and we're optimistic that we could start to see devices as early as this year with those capabilities.
Okay, so in early as this year, with that in mind, what is your 2024 global smartphone call outlook?
Difficult to make a call of the total market. I think we're just happy that the market is now stable. The correction is behind us, and let's see what our partners can launch. Stay tuned for example, what Samsung is going to announce soon. I think there's a lot of excitement about the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3.
Automotive. You are very bullish on automotive, and you've tried to position the company to diversify the company, but automotive is a key pillar. 10% of revenue is kind of the target, 2026, end of decade, 9 billion of sales. What data hits your desk that tells you you're on track for that?
Oh, we're on track. I think we had said we're going to get to 4 billion first milestone, and then we're going to get to the 9 billion at the end of the decade. I think we're ahead of those targets. What is really showing traction is the number of OEMs that have been working with Qualcomm, and how we continue to add to the pipeline of design. I think what's resonating, the car industry is transforming to a digital industry,
but what is
Qualcomm play a role.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Cristiano, but same question as with the smartphone or PC. What is the functionality, if I'm a customer or end user, that's going to change my mind about buying this vehicle that has something it doesn't have today that you are contributing to?
Well, you already seen that. See, the good thing about tracking Qualcomm progress, for us, is less about the market size. It's more about gaining share, and new models are launching the technology. You can see some of the cars. If you're going to go buy a car today, let's just say the Mercedes E-Class, what GM is doing with their car line, and many others, you have a fully immersive digital cockpit. You didn't have that before. That's enabled by Snapdragon.
Right.
Now you have those beautiful screens that are immersive, and it bring you a lot of information about the car, the road. On top of that, you have safety. And we have a vision that assisted driving needs to be in every car. For example, the announcement we did at the show in a partnership with Bosch, we have now announced at the CES a central compute platform that you can have ADAS and a digital cockpit on the same silicon, which basically you can do that for premium cars, now bring it to entry-level cars.
Mass market.
Those are going to be completely different changes in how you think about safety and how to think about your driving experience.
Cristiano, we just have 30 seconds left, but where geographically is the automotive growth coming from? Which markets?
For us, it's across the board, because you should think about us as new models launch of our technology, we gain share. We're working with all the Americans, all the Europeans, all the Koreans, all the Japanese, all the Chinese, so pretty much the entire automotive industry. I would be hard-pressed to tell you a car company we're not working with.